right, Martinsville in the truck. This one's gonna be a little different. I'm just gonna show you guys my process of coming up to speed because we are at a short track, and if we're gonna do this, we should do it on a short track. So I'm actually gonna keep everything default, except I know that brake bias probably should come up a little bit for a heavy braking track like this. I'm gonna start at 68. Wouldn't be surprised if I end up at 70. But if we find that we're able to stop our car really good and we need more rotation on corner entry, then you might see me lower it. All right. Let's get up to speed here. So I don't want to go over about 60% braking, 50 even, and we have to do it in a straight line like this. Get us right into the corner, keep us right on the line. Definitely close to being able to downshift, but not quite. I'm going a little bit earlier into the corners than I normally would. And so now I'm going to try pushing it a little more. A little bit too much slide up for me there, but you can still see that the speed is there, so I need to find somewhere in between. Or just brake harder without locking up. That actually is probably the idea. But you can see my goal is to just get right on the curb. It seems to be a little bit easier to get to the bottom of 3 and 4 than it is in 1 and 2, so I'm going to back up 1 and 2 a little bit more compared to 3 and 4. And that lets us get a better run off the corner. A little bit wider into 3. Feels like it can handle it better than 1 and 2. And we're starting to get kind of an equilibrium point. Yeah. So we're going to go do one more run out here. Try to go for a hot lap. Maybe try to see if shifting is a thing. It's definitely close to that low gear rev. But I'm going to try it without shifting first. But we're getting close. It's a good corner. Really important not to overdrive it here. Okay, that's kind of a good baseline. Now let's try downshifting into 3rd. Ooh. A little slidey, but let's see at the run we get off. No, it doesn't feel right. I'll try it a couple more times. Oh, shoot. It almost turned too good there. I'm willing to call the last 4th gear attempt probably about as good as I'm going to get within like a 10th or so. So we'll look at that in a little bit. But for now, I am going to try this 3rd gear a little bit more. It almost feels like something is there. You have to wait till the last second to downshift. Yeah, you see how it's close? Maybe there's something here. You have to wait till the last second to downshift. It just doesn't seem like it's getting me enough off the corner to justify doing it. Like at best, I'm even. It's crazy. I ran within 200ths of my best lap with a completely different technique. I would say the 4th gear is just easier to do. If anything, it's getting me more time in 1 and 2 than 3 and 4. Oops, not when I'm hitting the curb. All right, let's go back to 4th gear. Yeah, 4th gear is just better. But not by much. That's kind of funny. Also, this brake bias, I like it. I might be able to stand even less on the brake bias. In fact, let's go -3 on the brake bias and see what it does to us. I didn't feel anything particularly different there. Yeah, I guess the lower brake bias is fine. 65, maybe even lower. It's not spitting me out on entry, which is what I'm looking for on a brake bias. The thing about Martinsville is you really got to protect the dive bomb. Not even just you don't want people getting under you. You don't want people hitting you offset. You'd rather have people just square you up when they hit you, and then you're usually going to be fine. So like in a race, instead of taking a super wide entry like this, where you can easily get dive bombed, and you can see how it's like, oh, it's pretty fast, relatively. Well, 1/10 of a second doesn't mean a lot in Martinsville. So a line like this is going to be a lot more effective for you when you're in a hornet's nest. Like this. Like, yeah, you're going to be losing a little bit of time, but everyone's losing time because of just the constant carnage. If you're in the lead, yeah, try to pull away by doing the optimal line, going a little bit wider, for sure. If you're in second, you have no one right on your bumper, you're trying to chase down the leader, sure. Do the wider entry. Get down to the apex a little bit later. But if you're in a hornet's nest and you need to make sure you're not going to get taken out, this shallow entry where you just park it on the bottom, I'm losing like 1/10 of a second, 2/10 of a second maybe. But everyone in a hornet's nest is losing 2/10 of a second. Just make sure your steering wheel is straight when you're on the hard brake, and then only start turning in as you're going onto your trail brake. So straight, and then trail. And then in the truck, you don't really have to worry about throttle technique too much. And that's really the only thing that really matters besides just finding your specific points, which will change based on track temperature, how old your tires are, how hot your tires are, all that stuff. But here, I was able to brake around right before this little tire mark on the wall here. See, look at that. Hard brake when my wheel is straight. Trail brake when my wheel is turned. Okay? Very important. And then you can just slam the throttle. Hard brake when the wheel is straight. Trail brake when the wheel is turned. Slam throttle. Very easy in the truck. But it's going to be more about the Racecraft than anything. All right. Thank you all for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day. Hope to see you all on the track.